to devolve health. Because from the look of things, the governors who have been given the mandate to deliver on health matters, most of them do not understand their roles, Honorable Speaker. Then the ministry was to be, at the national level, have the policy making that will then guide the implementation. So we have a disconnect with the implementers who are governors on the ground, therefore making the ministry look so bad when exactly the problem comes from the ground, Honorable Speaker. We also made reference to KEMSA, which was a brilliant idea, because again, government must have bodies that help regulate the private sector out there. Without KEMSA, medicine such as Panadol would be 1,000 shillings. But you have a government body that helps regulate prices and comes up with regulations that guide that front, Honorable Speaker. KEMSA was actually brought in to self-fund. The government was only to give seed money, which was actually given. Today, as we speak, Honorable Speaker, 3 billion shillings is owed to KEMSA by the governors from various counties, Honorable Speaker. Yet, they keep on taking drugs. KEMSA cannot come up with breaks to apply on provision of those medicines to them until they pay. So we are in a quandary, Honorable Speaker, and that is why the health sector is looking so bad. How I wish maybe in the nearest future that we can reclaim health to come back to the ministry at the national level so that it is controlled from here, Honorable Speaker. Otherwise, we will always be blaming the Minister of Health, we will always be blaming the national government, yet we know exactly where the problem lies, and I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Kimilu. Honorable Kimilu. Give him the mic.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to contribute on this important, Mr. Speaker. One, I want to congratulate all the newly elected chairs and vice chairs for the opportunity they have got. Mr. Speaker, mine is just an advice. I want to advise all the chairs and vice chairs. This is the high time they have to serve the country, not their party leaders. And if they go in the direction of serving their party leaders, they'll fail. And let them know that before there were other chairs and other vice chairs.
Yes, Kimilu, there is a point of order from Women Rep Migori. What is out of order?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Member has just mentioned and seems to be claiming to be advising the chair that we don't serve our party leader. I would like to let him know that the party leader does not appear in any of these committees, does not give any direction, does not look into any books. So please withdraw that statement. Party leaders are for politics, not for committee issues.
Kimilu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, allow me to ignore my colleague and assume nothing has happened because the advice he's giving me, I'm not taking it. Because the advice is that we know every member in this house comes from a certain party, and we are party leaders. And my advice is, let's serve Kenyans. Let's not consider the directives of our party leaders. As they give us directions, we also need to consider Kenyans because we are here to serve Kenyans. And that's why I've said that, Mr. Speaker, before there were chairs, vice chairs, who served this country. So, Mr. Speaker, it's important, as members of parliament, when we leave this house, we need to leave legacy. I know that when I was the chair of this committee, I delivered on this to Kenyans. So, Mr. Speaker, I had nothing bad, but I wanted just to give an advice, Mr. Speaker. And I want to congratulate them and thank them and tell them for the coming 2.5 years, we need to see their work. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Evo Barra. Evo Barra.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. It is important to realize that there is something called goodwill. And if there was no goodwill from the leadership, we would not be here talking about inclusion. And that is what I need to advise my colleague here. Goodwill is what is lacking. And we have it now. So we must ride on this goodwill and make sure that whatever we do here is for Kenya. Thank you.
Ariko? Yes. Hold, Ariko, there is another point of order. Haika?
Mr. Speaker, I wish Honorable Kimwil will clarify what he means by serving our party leaders, because to my understanding, even the party leaders are Kenyans that we are going to serve. So I don't know what he really means by serving our party leaders. If he can clarify, maybe for this House to be able to understand.
Rico, I'm sure you know what he meant.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity. Honorable Speaker, I want to take this opportunity on behalf of the people of Turkana South and the great people of Turkana County to appreciate the two party leaders, His Excellency Dr. William
Emilio, you hear that? Go on.
His Excellency Dr. William Samoei Ruto and His Right Honorable Engineer Raila Amolo Odinga for having goodwill to give two positions to the people of Turkana. That is Honorable Epuyo and Honorable Dr. Ariko as chair and vice chair, respectively, in their respective committees. Honorable Chair, I want also again to thank His Excellency Dr. William Samoei Ruto for considering all Kenyans as shareholders in his government. The broad-based government or relationship that we've seen in this country will bring
I
peace.
thought you impeached somebody for saying Kenya is a country of shareholders.
Yeah, Kenyans. All of us are shareholders, Honorable Speaker. All of us are shareholders. So I don't want to say one region is a shareholder, but all of us, by virtue of making contributions to this nation in one way or another, we are all shareholders. So that's why I want to say thank you, thanks to the President of the Republic of Kenya. Honorable Speaker, I've been elected as Vice Chair of Public Investment Committee on Commercial Affairs and Energy. I know I've been informed this committee has a backlog that need to be cleared. With my experience, with my professional and academic experience in finance, I believe that I'll be able to add value to this committee and fast track the backlog and reduce the backlog. Honorable Speaker, I know this country has invested a lot in a number of agencies. And the feedback that needs to come out from these agencies can only come through the audited accounts. So, Honorable Chair, I want again to say thank you to the leadership of this House also.
You are addressing the Speaker, not the Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Yes.
Honorable Speaker, I want also to say thank you to the leadership of this House for also considering us, because in one way or another, they contributed to us being chairs and vice chairs. And to my colleagues who have been elected as chairs and vice chairs of various committees. It is our responsibility, as the Speaker has already pronounced, we need to be present in these committees so that we execute the matters of our respective committees. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Sabina.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to take this opportunity to congratulate the members who have gotten the position to lead as chairs and vice chairs. Having been a chair for 2 terms, Mr. Speaker, I just want to urge my colleagues that this is a huge responsibility bestowed onto you. It is important, Mr. Speaker, for the chairs to take the committee work very seriously. A lot of work is done at the committee, and sometimes, Mr. Speaker, what comes here on the floor, sometimes members vote even without understanding the concept or the content. So it's upon the chairs and vice chairs to make sure that when a subject comes in, and especially I want just to quote what my colleague was saying about the finance bill. I think last time there was a lot of politics that played in between. And Mr. Speaker, out of this House, then Kenyans really took offense with the finance bill. So I hope, Mr. Speaker, as now we have come to the second half of the term of our tenure, that will be objective, Mr. Speaker, that we are going to make sure that we communicate well to the public. This is a position that also comes with a lot of responsibility. We saw our colleagues, and I just want to say, sorry to the chair of finance, whose even house had to be burnt for a responsibility that he took as being a chair of the finance committee. So sometimes you'll have to take huge responsibilities. And I also want to urge them, when the government officials comes in, whether it's PSs or CSs, let us not be cause with them. Let us push them, because our role is oversight. Once we allocate finances to them, let us also make sure that we follow up on how they are using these finances. We have some PSs who allocate finances as they wish. Mr. Speaker, it is good that we play our oversight role very well so that we make sure this government is about broad-based. At the committee level, that's where we are able to allocate the finances to the projects that Mwananchi, the person on the ground, will feel that the government is concerned. And that is maybe what Honorable was saying about serving Kenyans. We are all serving Kenyans. Congratulations to the new team. Put your best foot forward, because we are on half term now. We need to redeem. And Mr. Speaker, just as I finish, let us also not cast aspersions or accuse our own colleagues, because what happens to your colleague today, it can happen to you tomorrow. We know chairs are their positions. I have been a chair, Mr. Speaker, and I've said that. A lot of these colleagues will approach you and come and tell you, help us on this, or call so and so on my behalf. So when the chairs offer themselves, and I am very sure, and unfortunately allow me, because I come from Murang'a County, to speak about Honorable Ndindi Nyoro, who was the chair of Budget Committee. He assisted very many members here. But when his time came, the same members, Mr. Speaker, were there casting aspersions and trying to show like Ndindi was favoring himself. Please let's remember the small deeds that our colleagues help us to do at their role, because they are that privileged position. And let us not accuse each other, because you never know. I want to personally congratulate Honorable Nikal. I served with him at the Health Committee. He has gone through all the ranks in the health ministry. And I'm very sure, Honorable Nikal, even as I move my bill, my motion, that you'll be of good help to give insights that we have very, very, very good public hospitals. You know, at our tenure in the Health Committee, we have a fantastic facility called Kenyatta University Referral Hospital that is better, Mr. Speaker, than any other private facility in East and Central Africa. But even majority of my colleagues don't know about it, Mr. Speaker. It is a state-of-art facility with more than 300 bed capacity, which has a capacity of 600 bed capacity. And that facility, Mr. Speaker, we do not even need to use any private facility. We can go to KU, give back the money to the public, where we can be able to have enhanced medical care. So, Mr. Speaker, as I congratulate my colleagues, remember, it has a responsibility. Let us not babysit these PSs and CSs. Let us push them so that we can be able to push and work for Kenyans for the rest of remaining few months. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
Kimani?
Honorable Speaker, I want to thank you for this opportunity, and as we congratulate the new chairs, it's also congratulate you, Mr. Speaker. As the chairperson of the Parliamentary Service Commission, we've seen a great change in the running of the affairs of this Parliament. We have seen a lot of change even in the environment in which we work, because we're here most of the time. So I think it's very important that we congratulate you for the good work that you continue to do for this August House, for your fairness and magnanimity in the decisions and the rulings that you make in this House. Honorable Speaker, the Honorable Sabina Chege talks about the incidents of last year during the finance bill. As we move forward as a House, I would really urge us to be very sober when we are having these conversations, whether in the House or outside there. Honorable Speaker, the events of last year, August, left some of our families completely devastated. Some of us, the personal losses we took, will take a very long time to recover. But Honorable Speaker, everyone in this House knows that the final document that was approved by this House was a very good bill, and that is why when those amendments were brought again in December, this Honorable House passed through the same finance bill that we passed here through the 4 different pieces of law that we brought to this House. So I want to urge us, irrespective of whichever political directions we will take moving forward, because the political formations could even change as we go towards the election. Let us be honest to ourselves. Let us be honest to our people. Let us be honest to our nation. And let us just make statements or inside the public for things that you know, for example, they are completely aligned. So I want to urge us that we really move forward together. For the new departmental chairs, Honorable Speaker, there is a matter before the Finance and Planning Committee on the non-remittance of pensions for pensioners. Honorable Speaker, we have more than 64 billion shillings that is owed to pensioners, and these are from especially the water agencies, the universities, and many other state agencies, Honorable Speaker. These accounting officers are remitting salaries to the employees. They deduct pension, but they don't remit that pension to the pension fund. And therefore, you're having people who dedicate very many years of their service for this republic, only for them to go to retirement, and there is no money for their pension. So I want to urge us in all the committees that you seek, especially as we'll be coming to discuss the appropriations bill and the estimates, let us make sure that our entities do, especially the disbursement of pension funds, so that when people retire, they have their pensions ready. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Richard Yegon.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I would also like to take this opportunity to congratulate those who have been elected as chairs and the vice chairs of various committees. And I would like to also urge and request all those who have been elected to fairly distribute all what has been put in the budgets and all those things we have been planning in the committees to make sure that everything has been balanced across the country. Because most of the time, there are some committees whereby when we talked about and we talk about planning and all